Alert! Yellowstone struck by earthquake near giant crack in the ground. Yellowstone supervolcano was struck by a rare and large 4.5 magnitude Richter earthquake on Saturday, which experts warned could spark an eruption. 4.5, that's pretty big. The area just east of Yellowstone was struck near a location which was in the news a few years ago. Dutch Sense reports the earthquake measured in at a mid-range 4.0 magnitude, meaning this earthquake is noteworthy enough to cause damage, and directly follows a rare and rather larger 4.9 magnitude which struck in Canada one day before. This is huge. This is the map, the one-day 24-hour travel time, loss of approximately 0.5 magnitude across the interior Craton edge, 4.5, 4.9, 4.2, 5.7, 4.0. You can see the whole mess down in the south towards Mexico and Panama. Earthquakes everywhere, and you can see the direct vertical line from Canada all the way down to Wyoming, through Wyoming to Yellowstone. Wyoming was warned for a new 4.0 magnitude range activity due to a 4.5 or 5.0 earthquake which struck to the north one day before. The 4.9 magnitude in Canada earthquake was omitted. It was omitted from the USGS earthquake feed for some reason, perhaps not to panic people. The possible reason for the deliberate omission of this earthquake could be due to the fact that the town nearby is called Uranium City, Canada. Information on the hidden or omitted 4.9 magnitude earthquake in Canada from NR Canada is on the link in the link below in the article. And here is a map of it, a Google map of where the earthquake was, around Uranium City, Water Dome. Even more interesting than the name of the location is what is actually below the location in question. Aside from the possibility of uranium, there's a giant magma dome, laccolith of epic proportions, even in Canada. And here it is. Here it is. Laccoliths, or magma domes, are large area which rise due to magma intruding into layers of the crust far down below. They are a weaker point in the crust than surrounding regions which do not have cavities in them. The oblong oval-shaped magma intrusion dome may be a former sill of an ancient volcano, or may be a bulge in crust created by magma intrusion. You can see it here on the right hand side is a laccolith. Coming up from the stalk on the left is a batholith, making the volcano. So the laccolith is basically magma, and it has just not erupted yet, but it could at one point. So the oblong oval-shaped magma intrusion dome may be a former sill of an ancient volcano, or may be a bulge in crust created by magma intrusion. Regardless of its magma source, the feature is massive in size, measuring over 450 miles long, or 750 kilometers, and nearly 200 miles wide, 300 kilometers. A giant dome in Canada moved a day ago, which apparently pushed towards the south along the Craton edge, causing the new 4.2 magnitude earthquake movement near Yellowstone supervolcano. That's bad news. This giant dome in Canada moved a day ago, which apparently pushed towards the south along the Craton edge, causing the new 4.2 magnitude movement near Yellowstone supervolcano. After the earthquake occurred along the northern portion of the plate in Canada within 24 hours, a location on the eastern edge of Yellowstone magma chamber was struck by a rare and noteworthy 4.2 or to 4.5 magnitude earthquake. The location which was struck in Wyoming is not just any random location. This is a very intriguing point to see activity occur at. Why is this location intriguing? 4.2 magnitude, 64 kilometers southeast of Thermopolis, Wyoming, at 5 kilometers depth. Aside from the name itself having a geothermal origin, Thermopolis, Wyoming, the location in question was in the news just a couple of years ago, in 2015. The earthquake struck due south of the town called Ten Sleep, Wyoming. Ten Sleep, Wyoming was in the news October 2015, due to a very strange and rare geologic phenomenon which took place across the countryside. Very close to Ten Sheep, Wyoming, a series of large surface fissures, cracks in the ground, formed across multiple mountainsides and mountain tops. It was as if the earth was opening and had a deep crevice. There was never any official explanation given, and the news was quickly forgotten within weeks of occurring. We can see some pictures of these cracks in the ground event which occurred. And here you can see fairly clearly the cracks everywhere along the mountain. Now that an earthquake of noteworthy size has struck near Yellowstone and very close to this fissure, quote-unquote, location, it would be prudent to keep watch for new similar-sized earthquake activity downstream from these locations. The locations downstream from Yellowstone can be seen here. And here you see the map of the North American craton, continental crust that has remained relatively stable for the past 600 million years. So it may also be noteworthy to see if any new surface fissures or cracks have formed in the shallow crust similar to that which occurred October 2015. Have an earthquake plan and keep watch. Don't be scared, but be prepared. Yellowstone supervolcano. We may have far less advanced warning time than we thought. A new study done on ancient volcanic ash revealed that we may experience an eruption of the Yellowstone supervolcano even sooner than previously warned. Scientists are also concerned that we will probably have much less advanced warning time than we had thought before. According to National Geographic, we may have mere decades before Yellowstone erupts. If the supervolcano underneath Yellowstone National Park erupts again, we could also have a far less time to prepare than originally thought. After analyzing minerals in fossilized ash from the most recent mega eruption, researchers at Arizona State University think the supervolcano last woke up after two influxes of fresh magma flowed into the reservoir below the caldera. The new paper adds to the lengthening list of surprises scientists have uncovered over the last few years as they have continued to study and closely monitor this supervolcano. A 2013 study, for instance, showed that the magma reservoir that feeds the supervolcano is about 2.5 times larger than previously thought. Scientists also think the reservoir is drained after every monster blast, so they thought that it should take a long time to refill. Based on the new study, though, it seems the magma can rapidly refresh itself, making the volcano potentially explosive in the geological blink of an eye, says National Geographic. Quote, "It's shocking how little time is required to take a volcanic system from being quiet and sitting there to the edge of an eruption," unquote. Study co-author Hannah Shamlow told the New York Times. But scientists insist that this may seem scary, however, it may still be a while before the eruption occurs. About 630,000 years ago, a powerful eruption shook the region, spewing forth 240 cubic miles of rock and ash. The violent eruption created the Yellowstone caldera, a volcanic depression 40 miles wide that now cradles most of the national park. That eruption also left behind the Lava Creek Tuff, the ash deposit at Shamlu, and her ASU colleague Christy Till used for their work. The two scientists presented their findings in August at a volcanology meeting in Oregon, and the pair also presented an earlier version of their study at a 2016 meeting of the American Geophysical Union. Based on fossil deposits like this one, scientists believe that the supervolcano has had at least two other eruptions on this scale in the past 2 million years or so. Almost everyone who studies Yellowstone's slumbering supervolcano says that right now we have no way of knowing when the next big blast will happen. For its part, the U.S. Geological Survey puts the rough yearly odds of another massive Yellowstone blast in 1 in 730,000. That's about the same chance as a catastrophic asteroid collision with Earth. Yellowstone is one of the best monitored volcanoes in the world, notes Michael Poland. He's the current scientist in charge of Yellowstone Volcanic Observatory for the U.S. Geological Survey. A variety of sensors and satellites are always looking for changes, and right now, the supervolcano does not seem to pose a threat. He says, "We see interesting things all the time, but haven't seen anything that would lead us to believe that the sort of magmatic event described by the researchers is happening," end quote, says Poland via email, adding that the research overall is somewhat preliminary but quite tantalizing. This is by Mark Slavo on SHFT.